Yeah, now it is. Okay, go ahead.
What
Okay,
happened? It
so
was there, right?
so the configuration that we are going to discuss about the bank charges, right? So while making the payments to the vendor, banker will charge expenses, and how do we track those expenses? Okay, so this is what the process. So in order to do this configuration, firstly we require a bank charges GL. So let me go here in FS00 and let me create a one expenditure bank charges. So I'm going into expenses. Let oh, bank charges we have bank charges, so we don't have to worry about creating this. Okay, so let me take these bank charges and get into the configuration. Okay, so define accounts for bank charges. The path for this is IMG, financial accounting, accounts receivable, accounts payable, business transactions, outgoing payment, global settings, and define accounts for bank charges. Just execute. Here we have one transaction called bank charges, BSP. Just double click on this and give a chart of accounts and enter the bank account. Enter the GL account 400 700. Just press enter, save. So what happens is whenever we have bank charges in the vendor payments, system will pick up this GL automatically. Now, what it is an expenses account, right? This is an expenses. Expenses requires a CO object. Expense requires a CO object, right? It requires a cost center. How do you have the cost center? Because this GL we are not entering manually. So let me show you that error. So we are not entering this GL at all. So let me first go into FBL1N and see what are all available. So we have three open items in the case of 200, 100 on this particular date. Okay, so on today's date, we have these many open items. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm paying 6,000 with bank charges. Let us assume I'm paying 6,000 with bank charges. Okay, how do I do now? So as usually, I'll go into F-53. Okay, I'll go into F-53. I'll take the dates 28th August 2019, 28th August 2019, and I will take bank account. Bank account is 2,20,000. Okay, I'm selecting 2,20,000 bank account. Okay, and what are my charges? Bank charges, let's say 100. My bank charges are 100. And how much is my vendor balance? It is 6,000. So I'm paying 6,000 to vendor and 100 as bank charges. So what will be my total? It will be 6,100. Okay, now let me take 6,000 only and let me run this thing. Okay, 6,000. Total it's supposed to be 6,100, but I've just entered this thing. Valid date is going to be today's date, and open item is 200 100. Okay, just press enter. Now this is what here I'm just selecting all. deactivating everything except this one. But when I see here, 100 is the difference. Why? Because in the bank column, I have entered the amount of 6,000. It means out of 6,000, 100 will go for bank charges. So what is the balance? It is 5,900, and you can see 5,900 as the amount entered. So for that reason, what we will have to do is we will have to consider vendor amount along with the bank charges. It means vendor amount is 6,000, 100 are my bank charges, totally 6,100 to be entered. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just go back and enter again the same transaction. Okay, now this time what I will do, I will take 6,000 my vendor balance along with 100 bank charges. So value date is today's date and vendor account is this. Press enter. Now what I will do, I'll select all, deactivate, just activate one line item. Now you see here. Okay, I'm just going simulate it. Now the expectation here is, see, this is an expenditure account. Now I'm just entering, let's say, text. Now if I try to simulate, it says CO object. It expects a CO object. So you will have to enter cost center manually, or you can have this cost center triggered automatically. If you want the cost center to be triggered automatically, so you have one transaction code OKB9. Of course, we have seen that already, but anyways, I'm going there. I'm just copying this GL account, going into OKB9. So controlling profitability analysis and flow of actuals, direct postings from FIMM, automatic account assignment. Okay, so we have got only one. Now I'm just copying it, taking the GL. I'm saving. Now let us post this transaction. F-53 bank account amount is 6,100, bank charges 100, value date is today's date, and vendor account. Okay, so I'm keeping a cursor on one of the items. I'm selecting all and deactivating everything, just activating the one. Okay, now it is clear. Go to document, simulate, and you can see this. So we have some realized gain. I think we have some foreign currency transaction probably. So you can see there. Even for this GL also, we can keep a default. Okay, I'm going into simulate again. I can see this transaction and just save. So here see, total bank amount is showing 6,100, of which 100 is relevant to bank charges, 6,000 relevant to vendor. Just saving. Oh, dump. I think there is some problem with the bank charges process. Okay, so something going wrong. Let us see. Let me post this transaction again. So normally once we save it, we will have an entry, right? Bank account gets credited, vendor accounts gets debited, bank charges are expenses, which also will be debited. Let me try again and see. So basically the entry going to be like this. Okay. So entry going to be, so bank account will be credited, okay, and vendor will be debited. Vendor amount is 6,000, whereas we are paying 6,100 as part of bank. The balance 100 will be considered as bank charges. This is what the journal entry going to come. Okay, this is what the journal entry. Let's try and post it once again, and if we get the same error, then we cannot do anything. We need a buffer's help, some some program giving error, giving some problem. So here again, I'm taking the same thing, bank charges. I will take 100, value date. Now select all, deactivate everything, activate only the line item. Since we are paying the full amount, I'm here in the standard. Go to document, simulate, and just post. Okay, just post. No, so we cannot do anything now. Looks like there is some problem. Okay, so if at all you have any client system, probably you can check this thing in your the testing system in your sandbox. Okay, do that one. This is about bank charges. Any questions?
Yes, Nanda.
Yes.
Like you put that default cost center in transactions code OKB9,
Hmm.
and when you just posted, these transactions, it should picked up automatically, right? The cost object, but it
Hmm.
did not. You just enter manually. So why is
No,
that?
no. I did not enter manually.
The
I
last
entered
transactions.
for I have entered for the realization, not for the bank charges. F-53. This is the bank charges. This is not the bank charges. It is clearly mentioning as a realized gain or loss. I was telling this point clearly. So you
Oh
have
no.
an option to enter the cost center. Same here. You can maintain a default cost center in OKB9. Since we did not mention over there, since we did not maintain over here, it is expecting. So just double click here and enter the cost center.
Okay. I thought,
I told
that you, no, no, I thought, you double click on the first item, bank charges.
no,
That's
no,
why
no.
I asked you.
I was telling that point clearly. I was telling that point clearly. Okay. I
Yeah.
did not enter anything here.
No, that's what I thought, I thought, you double click on that. That's why.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's fine. So that's about the bank charges. Any other questions?
Yes, I have one other questions. Let me just pull up. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 minute. Okay, you can go ahead and I will ask you later.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, here in our user tolerances, right? We have already entered this tolerances for employees, user tolerances, right? Define tolerance group for employees. Here, when you go here 1248, we have maintained a cash discount of 5%, right? Now, what is the importance of this 5%? Let's discuss that. So, in order to have a cash discount considered automatically, so normally this cash discount has to be triggered automatically. The GL has to be triggered automatically. So we need to maintain a GL account for that. Let's see, before we get into that, let's see whether we have a GL for it. FS00 expenses, do we have any cash? No, we don't have. So let me take this and I'll maintain. So what I will do, I'll keep here as 800. Okay, 800. Now what I'll say here, cash discount. Normally this cash discount, there are two options, right? Let's say in the case of vendor, the amount is 1000. Okay, the amount is 1000. Let us assume. Now, if if we pay the amount to this vendor within 10 days, he mentioned to pay a discount of 10%. So out of 1000, 10% discount, that 100 is nothing but cash discount. We call it as cash discount. There are two discounts, trade discount, cash discount. Trade discount comes at the time of purchase and sale itself. I mean, out of 1000, 1% is my trade discount. So it will be 999 or 990, whatever it is, 1%. 990, then we will have to pay 990 only. So we will not consider 1000 at all in our this thing. So 990 will be a vendor. This is called a trade discount. So trade discount comes at the time of invoice posting. Now cash discount will come in at the time of vendor payments. I mean, when we are paying the amount to a vendor or when we are receiving the cash from a customer. Okay, so now the out of 100, out of 1000, let's say 10% is our cash discount 100. It means typically we are paying 900 only. When do we have this kind of scenario? The scenario will be simple. See, it is a kind of an attraction that the vendor gives us, right? So vendor says, if you pay the amount, total invoice amount within 10 days, you will be given 10%. Though he says 30 days of payment terms, he will say 30 days of payment terms. What does it mean? It means he has to wait for 30 days to get this amount. But he'll put a clause. Okay, you take 30 days, but if you pay the amount in 10 days, I'll give you 5% discount or 10% discount. Okay, that is what the condition comes up sometimes. So cash discount will be a discount at the time of payment. Okay, at the time of payment to the vendor. Now this cash discount is an income or expenditure to us. Basically, I have to pay 1,000, but I'm paying 900. It means 100 is my benefit. It is going to be my income. Now, similarly, in the case of customer, let's say 2,000 is the customer invoice on this 10%, which is nothing 200, which is called as cash discount. Okay, and typically we are receiving 1,800. So what happened in our case is, at the time of selling the stock to a customer, we have given him 30 days of payment terms, and we also mentioned if the customer pays within 10 days or 15 days, he would be getting 10% of discount. That is nothing but cash discount. So typically what does it mean is he will pay the 1,800 amount if he makes the payment within the stipulated time, right? So it means we are receiving 1,800 instead of 2,000. So this 200 is nothing but a loss for us, expenses. So here in this case, you have two options. Either you can create one GL account for both of the situations, or you can create one expenditure and one income. You can do either the way. You can go in any way. Okay. So normally we will consider only one GL. The same thing is applicable in both the cases. Okay, because very rarely we will have this kind of scenario, so normally we will take only one GL for both the cases. So let me create an expenditure account, expenditure GL for cash discount. Okay, I'm doing the same thing here. So cash discount 4 series GL, just to save it. 400 800 is created. Now I'm going here. Now, if you see over here, we have two: cash discount taken, last cash discount. It means cash discount allowed, cash discount taken. We will take the cash discount out of our endars. We will we will lose the cash discount from our customer. So cash discount taken. Define accounts for cash discount taken. Path for this is IMG, financial accounting, accounts receivable, accounts payable, business transactions, outgoing payments, outgoing payments, global settings, define accounts for cash discount taken. Just execute. Okay, I'm just saving. I'm just saving. I have this account. Now, what is my account? Cash discount account, which is 400 800. I'm just saving. So cash discount 400 800. But what is the maximum cash discount that is allowed? That is what we have maintained here in the tolerance groups. Here we did mention as 5%. We did mention as 5%. Okay. So now let's see how do we capture this. Okay, so before I get into that, let me just see. Okay, executing. So we have some transactions, right? We have some transactions. So earlier it was, I mean, when we were posting this transaction, that went to a dump. So still it is showing as an open item. Let me consider this. On 6,000, what is 5%? On 6,000, 5% will be 300. So let me post this transaction. F dash, what is the transaction code? F dash F-53. F-53. Okay, so let's enter the details. So I will say here 5,500. I'm just giving, I'm entering just 5,500. Let's see. Now I'm taking the vendor. Out of 6,000, we are paying 5,000. So this should be either a partial or residual, right? Or it can be a cash discount related stuff. Okay, discount difference amount is 5,000. Let me take 500 over here. Let me take this 500. The moment I enter here, it appears the discount percentage, but cash discount may only be granted up to 300 USD. What does it mean? Out of 6,000, 5% is what? 300. So system will accept the cash discount up to 300. It will not allow you to do more than 300. So because of that, we can see this error. So what we will have to do now, in order to run this transaction, we will have to revise the amount. So maximum is 300. It can be a 200, 250, 150, but it should not cross 300. So what I will do, I'll post the transaction again. So I'm just simulating. I can do it from here. It is not allowing me to do that all. Okay, so double click here on this maximum 300. It means I will have to keep 5,700. Okay, again I'm going into process open items. Now 300 is the difference. Now what I will do, I will enter 300. You can see percentage. You can see this percentage. Suppose if I enter 200, if I enter 200, it gives me the same percentage. So typically here we will have to enter 3. Now it is 0, right? Now the important point, one more. Cash discount is an expenditure. It requires a CO object. You will have to maintain a default object in OKB9 as usually. So since we don't have that here, system will not allow us to save. It will not allow us to save. See, correct marked line items. These to be marked. Cash discount. I will be entering some cost center. Again, realized gain or loss. I'm putting something here. Now going to the simulation again, you can see now. So 300 is going for cash discount. The GL will be triggered automatically. Just a second. My God, all transactions of this kind. So every transaction is going dump. Let me just try and post a transaction. Let me just see. So 400, 400. I'm just posting one JV. I just want to see any problem. I will say one cost center, bank GL 2,20,000. I'll say value date is today's date. I'll just document, simulate, and save. Aha. I think the problem is because of that. I feel, yeah. SCC4. This is due to SCC4. Again, he made it as someone made it as USD. I think the problem is due to this. We have maintained as euro. Now let us post F-53 now with cash discount, bank account. So 5,700. Okay, I'm entering, deactivating all, just activating 6,000, and I'm keeping bank cash discount as 300. Okay, I'm going into document, simulating cash discount. I will say 1,000, just simulating and save. Yes, that was the problem.
So Nanda,
But
that way we can also post the
post the bank charges.
right,
Yes,
right.
yes. You can post even bank charges also. Okay. So that is what basically the payment. Okay. So cash discount here XYZ Bank of America. So it is an income. So because of that, you can see it on the credit side, negative side, posting key 50. Any questions?
Yes, Nanda, I have one questions. Like we have defined 5% cash discount in tolerance, right? Now, but sometime vendor gives us more than 5%. In that case,
We
what
will
what
have to enter that manually. We will have to enter that manually because the maximum discount allowed is 5%. That is the condition here.
right?
It is allowed only for 5%. Now if you want that additional thing, right, you can have two ways. Either you will have to enter the additional amount manually, or you will have to create a separate user group. Right, in the configuration you will have to create a separate user group, tolerance group separately, and a different person, maybe senior manager or someone, should post the transaction. So for first group, we will be keeping 5%. The next user group will have 10%, 20%, like so. So if it is within the 20% boundary, the respective user group should post the transaction. You know what I mean? Did you understand?
Yes, I do. And another thing, like on a cash discount, we need to assign the cost object, right?
Sorry?
On the cost, like on a cash discount, if it is expense, then
Mm-hmm.
we it requires the cost object to
We
be
have entered
assigned.
just now. We
No, no,
have entered that one,
no, no, I understand
right?
that.
We have entered that manually,
Yeah, no,
right?
yeah, yeah, I understand that. That is okay. Yeah, you enter it. That's not my question. My question
Mm.
is that in case of like income, suppose if we received the cash discount, right? So
Y-
will
Yes.
require cost object for that?
No, since it is an income, in the case of income, profit center is important.
Exactly, exactly.
Or you can consider profitability segment.
Right. So, but since we are assigning default cost object, so what
Mhm.
happens in the case of receiving the cash discount? Like then
Profit center, we will
yeah.
be
So
assigning
so so
profit
system will pick up profit center, or because we have assigning by default cost object, right? Cost center. So how the system will
center. Let me finish. Let me finish that. we are discussing about the expenses. In the case of expenses, cost object is required. So OKB9 is for cost object, and there is another transaction code FAGL3KEH. Here we will maintain the profit center, default profit center. For this particular account, we will maintain a default profit center.
Oh, I
Here
see.
we will maintain a default profit center, system will trigger. Otherwise, we have another option. It is too early to discuss this
Oh,
point.
I see. Okay, no, no, it just came into
So
my mind. Yeah, it just
yeah,
came to
so
my mind. Yeah.
since you mentioned that, I'm just giving, but it is too early to comment on these kind of
Okay.
things, right? So in the profitability analysis, you have flow of actuals and direct postings from FIMM. Here in the automatic account assignment in OKB9, I will enter revenue GL here, and I will say profitability segment. I will select this. This is called profitability segment.
Yeah.
It's called COPA.
Okay. Okay. The reason I ask you because we are using only one GL account, whether it be a expense or income. So
Mhm.
that's why I ask you this
Correct,
question.
correct,
If you would
correct,
have
correct.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that is too early to
yeah,
answer now,
right.
because I'll pick up the information based on the required. Okay. Okay, fine. So any questions on the cash discount front? Right. So this cash discount is the one that we are entering manually. When we go into F-53 at the 300 cash discount amount that we have entered manually, and we found the percentage, right? We have entered that 300 manually, but instead you can do that using payment terms. You can do this payment terms. The amount will come up automatically. So let's discuss that part. So we discussed about the payment terms the other day. I'm just going through. I don't know where we have. Yeah, here only. So maintain terms of payment OB B8, I think. Okay, maintain terms of payment. Execute. We have seen already the path. I think we have created one or two. I don't really remember that.
We created two, last two.
Yeah, 1230 and 1245, right? These are the
Yes.
two things that we have created. So let me create another one with the 1260. So I just have to, I think we are getting some dump error while copying that. Uh, it's the same. Okay, so what I will do, I'm just going into accounts payable, business transactions, incoming invoices, terms of payment. So I'm going into new entry. I will just say 1260. I will say 1260. So what I will say here, I'll say 60 days of terms of payment. Okay, I will say the same 60 days. Right. Now it's not the installment. I'll keep here 60 days. Normally in all our cases we are keeping 60 days here, so that system understands 60 days. But my condition is, if the vendor, if we make the payment to the vendor in 20 days, I would be having a discount of 10%. I would be having a discount of 10%. Okay, I'm just saving now, just saving. So, and the balance is of course 60 days. So totally it is of 60 days. I'm not entering 60 days in the first term itself. It means in the first installment itself. If I make the payment to the vendor in 20 days, I would be having a discount of 10%. If not, it maximum I have time limit of 60 days. And if I make after 20 days, before 60 days, I will not have any discount. I'm just saving now. Any question here in the configuration? So if I'm making a payment of 20 days, within 20 days, I will have a discount of 10%. If I make the payment in 60 days, I will not have any discount. Save. Any questions? Okay. Now let me go and post a transaction. So F dash 43. So let us take a date. We will take a date. Okay. We will take some tomorrow's, 20th day. Let's take 20th August because I want to make a payment today. 20th August 2019. 20th August 2019. Okay. Now I'm taking same 200, 100 vendor. I will say 15,000. So by default, I have this thing. So I'm just changing to 60. Okay. Now you see here 40. Now the moment I enter here, now see days, 20 days. Within 20 days, if I do, I have a discount of 10%, but a maximum of 60 days I have. Okay. It's not coming up clearly. Okay. I mean, I'll enter the transaction again, but one more error is coming up. I mean, information is coming up that we will see. Okay. But anyways, let me post this transaction again. I will not press enter. Just I have pressed enter just to show you that information. Okay, let me take 200, 100, and I'm taking this. So let me say 15,000. So this is going to be 60 for me, and I will say here 40. Some expenditure I'm taking 400, 400. I will take. Now you see I have entered 1260 here as payment terms. In payment terms 2060, I have entered if I make the payment in 20 days, the maximum percentage of discount is 10%. But according to the user level configuration, what is the maximum cash discount that is allowed? It is 5%. Cash discount may only be granted up to 5%. Okay, so if you see over here, now if you go here in the documents and if you see at the user level, we have mentioned as 5%. We have mentioned as 5%. 5% is the discount that is allowed. But whereas as per the payment terms, it says as 10%. Now business has to take a call whether whether the particular user should be allowed to post 10% discount or should not. If not, the next higher person should have the 10% cash discount authorization. So accordingly, we will have to create the user group. This it means we will be creating one more tolerance like 1248. With 1248 we will be creating one tolerance group, and another tolerance group with the 10% we will be creating. And this tolerance group will be again linked with the security team. Security, there is another module called security basis and security people will give the relevant authorization, so accordingly we can post the transaction. Now what I will do, I'll just change here 10%, 1248. In order to post a transaction, I will just change the 10%. Okay, I've changed this to 10%. Now I'm going back to the transaction. Okay, F dash 53. Oh, sorry, we are posting the invoice, right? F dash 43. Okay, I'm taking the date. Now the vendor amount 15,000. I'm changing this to 1260. Now I will say 40 here. Expenditure. Now you see terms of payment changed. It is allowing. I'm taking the relevant cost center. Okay, just save. Save. Transaction has been saved. We have posted it on 20th. Let's say we are making the payment today. So in F-53, let's make the payment. F-53. In F-53, let us make the payment. Okay, bank account. So what is the total amount that I've considered? 15%, right? 15,000. 10% will be 1500. So 13,500 is the amount that we are paying. So 13,500 I'm taking along with the value date and taking the vendor account. Okay, so just selecting all, deactivating all. I'm just entering 15,000. See, here you can see this amount. You got this automatically. You got this automatically. So you're not entering manually here. Just go to document, simulate, and here cash discount we got. So put some cost center, go to simulate again, and you can save. Any questions here?
Oh,
Okay, so this is about few talk. This is about payment terms with discount. Payment terms with cash discount. Okay, so tomorrow we will be continuing with the payment terms and we'll be discussing the installments.